Hi, James.
Hey Jess,
How's it
how
going?
are
Yeah,
you?
good, good. Long time no see since we're in lockdown, isn't it, James?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
It has. A bit too hot for my liking, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of hot, hasn't this week been cold?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, oh, speaking of hot, my best friend Jess, isn't she smoking hot? But no, you just turned it to something.
No.
Yeah, no. It was being friggin' cold, to say the least, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm rugged up in my apartment. COVID lockdown. Lockdown got extended. Woo! Surprise, surprise. So I'm just curled up in my blanket, you know, ready to do another brilliant episode of our award-winning podcast.
It's very true. It's very true. I keep getting those links as well for sponsors. So we need a sponsor now because they keep asking me to sponsor us.
Yeah, we better get on to
I
that.
need to get onto this because they're coming to me like in the emails and they're coming like on Insta as well.
Oh, wow,
Instagram.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right. Calm down, public. All right.
Yeah, we better get into that.
I agree. So how was work,
So,
James? What did you do?
yeah. What have I done this week?
Yeah.
I feel like a zombie. You know, when you wake up, you go to work, you wake up, you go to work, you wake up, you go to work.
Yeah. It's exactly how I feel.
And then I haven't even ventured that far. I've only ventured to the little shopping mini supermarket right underneath my, apartment complex because I can't be bothered going anywhere else in case it's COVID infected.
It's a hot
Because all
spot,
these
isn't
places
it?
keep on popping up.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
around your area, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
How was your week?
Yeah, not too bad. It was a bit exhausting towards the end, but we got through it. And I'm just, had a good week though. Had a good week, but it'll be nice, like, if we had better weather. Like, no, we're in lockdown. It would be great if Mother Nature can do us a favor and give us something positive. But no.
Yeah.
I've got, like, a big window near my desk, and I'm just watching the rain come in and the clouds come in. I'm just like, it looks like it's going to rain for 40 days and 40 nights.
Wow.
It's cold, it's wet, it's dreary. It kind of looks like London here. And then all of a
It
sudden you get
does.
like a burst of light. I'm like, what is that? And then it buggers off.
I read online that it's getting colder.
Did you see what happened in actually speaking of London? They had stinking hot heat, like for them that is. Stinking hot heat, and they were just I was watching a few like vlogs on YouTube. And it just started pelting down immediately with these like hailstorm, like what hail? Yeah, hail.
Hailstones?
Hailstones, yeah. And they were like not average size. They were like a bigger, like almost like just smaller than like a golf ball. And then
Oh,
it
wow.
started getting hot again, I think.
Have you ever heard of something really bizarre to throw you off? Silver iodine?
No. What's that?
So basically what they're doing in places like United Arab Emirates,
Mm-hmm.
they're basically putting that through the sky. And what it does is it forces it to rain. So they create rain clouds with it.
Well, they're creating beaches there. I went to a man-made beach there, and I'm like, this is weird.
I
But
know,
interesting.
right?
Interesting. Just everything
Yeah,
about
but I also read more about it. It's like silver, it's been used since the 1940s to like make rain. I'm like, why don't they use it for like droughts and everything? You know what I mean? If you want to make rain clouds and get rain. But I read a bit about it, and it's like it's not as good as people make it out to be because silver iodine can have negative effects. So it's like, another thing we're doing which isn't really good for the world, but hey, it gets them rain and they want rain.
It's true. Man-made. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool though. It's cool, but wow, I didn't expect that one. That was a curveball, James.
Also, they were talking about the Indian Ocean
Mm-hmm.
and how it's going to cause more wet weather for Australia. I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. I didn't really read it that in depth.
Oh, climate
but I was
change.
just like, oh, another science article telling me something interesting.
There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. So, should we get right into the episode?
Yes. What's the episode, James? Tell our lovely listeners.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable, interesting historical facts.
That's it. There's a few weird ones, if not all of them,
Yeah.
out there. So I just thought.
So, who wants to go? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I have one.
Okay.
I thought it was quite because this is another thing I've been doing all week. I should tell people. I've been watching Cake Boss clips on YouTube. I have watched them all.
What is that?
Cake Boss is kind of just like this guy in, I think it's Jersey. No, something with a H. My gosh, I was talking about this yesterday because I've now run out of all the clips. Now I've forgotten. But Hoboken, I think that's what the suburb is called in America, near Jersey or something of the sort. Cake Boss. So basically it's a 112-year-old business that it's gone through the generations, and he makes all kinds of cakes.
Cool.
But they're just like life-size. Like he made a life-size crocodile out of cake. Like it's unbelievable what they've been able to accomplish. They kind of just like start with the base. So they have this warehouse at the back where they do the structure to support the cake. So it's like a wooden structure with like sometimes beams and this and that. And then they put layers of cake. And then the icing, they explain how they make the cake and make the icing, and they pile it together, and then they have to figure out how to make it look lifelike. So there's all kinds of ones. He did a transformer one that was pretty big. This crocodile one, I thought there was one where he did a structure where it was a fire brigade, and all of a sudden the cake are like caught on fire, and then you have this like fire engine coming and putting it out. That's the cake. Like it's got like the next level of cakes. If you haven't heard of Cake Boss. How did I get on the subject? Basically, I watched all the clips, and that's it. So my first fact I wanted to share with everyone.
Yeah, I was like, where is this going?
Yeah, he made a big turkey, and they have so he does like the owner of that shop does like the cake and everything, and then he has this other like visual designer who like he uses like modeling chocolate in order to make faces, like when you like characters, faces, animals. So my first one is to do with the turkey, and they made like a massive turkey cake, and I remember watching it going, wow. Like because with the turkey it's kind of like blue on its face with like the little, I don't know, wobbly bits that are red on the neck.
Yeah.
It was really lifelike. So I've been doing that all week. But back to the podcast, so to speak, the topic. So number one, turkeys were once worshipped like gods. Can you believe it, James?
Oh, wow.
So, while the turkey is currently America's favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal, except for if you're vegan or anything of the sort, in 300 BC, these big birds were heralded by the Mayan people as vessels of the gods and were honored as such. So much that they were domesticated to have roles in religious rites. They were symbols of power and prestige and can be found everywhere in Maya iconography and archaeology. So they're just covered there. Isn't that unbelievable? You have, turkeys running about and they're gods.
Yeah, wow. That's really interesting. So they were just worshipped and believed to be the vessels of gods.
I think because they just looked out of the ordinary, isn't it? It's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where they think Johnny Depp, so Captain Jack Sparrow, is a god, and they want to eat him and consume his power.
Have you seen we're talking about like Pirates of the Caribbean and everything? What about Captain Morgan was a real person?
Can you believe that? When I saw that, because that's what I posted, yeah?
Yeah, he was a Welsh privateer who fought against the Spanish alongside the English in the Caribbean.
It's very cool.
His full name was Sir Henry Morgan and was knighted by King Charles II.
Hence the rum.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That's cute. I do like Captain Morgan. It's a spiced rum, if people don't know. Yeah, you really do. You're like next level. I might have like one drink and you're like full on into this rum.
I'll have the bottle, thanks.
Yeah. I'm more of a Malibu.
You're a Malibu person?
Yeah. I'm a Malibu kind of chick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. But do you have one, James?
Yeah, I've got another one if you want to know.
Yeah, tell me.
Cleopatra's reign was closer to the moon landings than the Great Pyramid being built.
You know, there's also a rumor that she actually wasn't Egyptian, that she was born in Greece, and because she was a descendant of one of the main generals of Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
And she was taken from Greece to Egypt, and then she eventually became queen. That's like a rumor. The other rumor, incest.
Well,
and was born in Egypt, so I don't know.
Egyptian royal reigned from 51 BC to 30 BC. So she was just 30 years off from meeting Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh, really? I didn't know that.
And 2,500 years, very different, after the Great Pyramid of Giza was built, roughly 200 years before the first lunar landings in 1969. So she's kind of dead center in time, but she's closer to the moon landings than she is to the pyramids being built.
Oh my gosh. That's ironic.
Yeah.
That's really ironic. I wonder how long, they haven't found her grave. They don't actually know where her tomb is.
Yeah.
I think it's Cleopatra, yeah. Oh, boy. Well, that's a good one. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've got another one if you want another one.
Tell me.
You know that the Vikings were the first people to discover America? Half a millennium before Christopher Columbus.
They say the Portuguese, like everyone, was basically there.
Chief Ericsson of Greenland landed on the island of Newfoundland in the year 1000 AD. The Vikings under Ericsson settled Newfoundland, as well as discovering and settling Labrador further north in Canada.
Interesting. I like how all these facts are coming out like years later, like the truth.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. It has to be. It's such a big, massive land, but it was like popularized through Christopher, who I think was Italian. I think it was an Italian. They mentioned that on Cake Boss. He makes a Christopher Columbus cake, and he was like, the Italians love this guy. I'm guessing he was Italian.
Classic.
What can I say? Yeah, the Captain Morgan one. I just went past that. I love this. So basically the Titanic that we all know and love. So the Titanic's owners never said the ship was unsinkable. So that's like a rumor that's developed over time. And so despite what James Cameron's iconic 1997 film may have you believe, the owners never said that it could never sink. So historians said that the population as a whole were unlikely to have thought of the Titanic as a unique, unsinkable ship before its maiden voyage. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's just things that, it's kind of like Marie Antoinette never said, let them eat cake. She was, that's just something that's just adapted over time and taken off. Rumors, yeah?
Yeah.
Rumors.
Well, I think what's really interesting is, how we've all heard of the Great Fire of London?
Oh, yeah.
And there's been heaps of paintings of it that showed the Great Fire of 1666. And it can be traced back to a baker's oven that caused the massive damage across the city of London.
Is it a baker's oven? Really?
Only 6 people died.
And they made
and it destroyed over 13,500 houses and displaced 80,000 people. And it claimed the lives of only 6 unlucky Londoners.
Oh my God. Imagine being that baker if you lived.
Oh, you'd hope you died.
I know. After all of that. That's insane. Oh, here we go. I found the one about Cleopatra. It said, despite what you may believe, the last queen of Egypt wasn't born in Egypt. As best as historians can tell, Cleopatra was Greek. She was descendant of Alexander the Great's Macedonian general Ptolemy. I think that's how you say it. See, we don't know what we know, do we? We get told one thing and it's something else.
Yep.
Interesting. You know, Mary actually had a little lamb. Did you know that?
No.
So it was a true little fact. So everyone knows the nursery rhyme, Mary had a little lamb. But you probably didn't know that this was based on a true story. Her name was Mary Sawyer. She was an 11-year-old little girl that lived in Boston and one day was followed to school by her pet lamb. In the late 1960s, she helped raise money for an old church by selling wool from the lamb. Oh, very cute.
Wow. Did you know that there was one man who survived both the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and then later Nagasaki?
Oh my goodness. Such luck, isn't it? You would think one tragedy is enough.
Yeah, Tsutomu. I'm absolutely butchering his name. Anyway, he was 29 years old. He was a naval engineer on a 3-month business trip to Hiroshima. He survived the atomic bomb on August the 6th, 1965, despite being less than 2 miles away from ground zero. On August the 7th, he boarded a train back to his hometown of Nagasaki, and then on August the 9th, while being with colleagues at an office building, another bomb split the sound barrier. A flash of white light filled the sky. He emerged from the wreckage with only minor injuries on top of his current injuries. He survived 2 nuclear blasts in 2 days.
I wonder what he thinks about all of it.
Yeah.
He'd be actually quite interesting to talk to. Or he's probably like, I've had enough. I'm staying away from everything.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Intense. Did you know, James, that Abraham Lincoln, yes, the past president of the United States, is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame? So before he took office, basically, he was declared a wrestling champion. I mean, guessing his height, he was a big fella, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And basically, 6'4" or something like that. President had only one loss among his around 300 contests. And he earned a reputation for this in New Salem, Illinois, as an elite fighter. And eventually he earned his country's wrestling championship. And he was also a licensed bartender. This guy gets around, doesn't it?
Yep.
You would have thought. You would think like he just grew up poor and he became like this guy, but no. He's had a usual life, and then he became like a vampire, yeah? Abraham Lincoln Vampire. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I like it. Have you got one?
Do you know that Adolf Hitler's nephew fought against the Nazis in World War II? During the Second World War, William Patrick Hitler, later William Patrick, Stuart Hodgson was drafted into the U.S. State Navy, where he served as a hospital corpsman throughout the war until 1947. He was wounded in action and was awarded the Purple Heart and went on to gain American citizenship.
Whoa. You're kidding.
Yeah. I've never heard of that.
No.
I don't know whether that's true.
You know what? It probably is, and it's just been ignored throughout time.
Yeah.
I like that one, though. That's a good one.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, James. Did you know Thomas Edison? I heard this before. Apparently there was a guy that invented, like, the light bulb, like, before him, but it says here, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb. While everyone thinks he did, the majority, so basically, this article says that the majority of his inventions were not in fact his. That's kind of like saying Shakespeare didn't write his... Did you hear that? How they claim like Shakespeare didn't write his original work, that he in fact died and this other guy took like the name of Shakespeare. Like it just, there's so many. But anyways, this... Thieves. So Thomas stole okay, so while he did land the patent for the light bulb in 1880, the real inventor was a fella called Warren de la Rue. Guessing he's French. A British astronomer and chemist who actually created the very first light bulb 40 years before Edison. Well.
Wow.
Why am I getting a growing trend here about the American culture and how all these people that we think did a lot of things first are in fact they didn't?
Yeah.
Have you noticed, like, a couple of these are just like, you thought this, but it's this. Oh, God.
Did you know that The Tale of Two Lovers, an erotic novel, was one of the best-selling books of the 15th century, and it was written by Pope Pius II before he assumed the papacy, meaning became Pope.
Oh, my God. What was that called?
The Tale of Two Lovers, an erotic novel.
A bit of sauce.
Bit of sauce with the Pope.
Yeah, I think I'll become...
Writing out his...
sermons. He's writing this on the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saucy.
Imagine that. Imagine if, like, one of the popes wrote 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Oh, that's
well,
right. Here's one. Walt Disney didn't draw Mickey Mouse.
What?
While Walt Disney did have the idea of Mickey Mouse and also provided the voice, he did actually, the imagery was created by the animator U.B. Ehrlich. He came up with all the iconic features. You won't look at the adorable mouse the same again. I always thought Walt did that on his own and he held it.
Nope.
Isn't that interesting, isn't it? That if you are to create something and when you die, and then 100 years may go by and then the story could be adapted over time, isn't that scary?
Yeah.
That your work is kind of just like criticized.
Yeah, crazy. Did you know that Vladimir Pravik was the first firefighters to reach the Chernobyl nuclear power plant on April the 26th, 1986? The radiation was so strong that it changed his eye color from brown to blue. Like the majority of the first responders to the radioactive disaster, Vladimir died 15 days later from severe radiation poisoning.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yeah, the radiation managed to change his brown eye color to blue.
Holy crap. That's kind of like, what was it, Madame Curie? What did she do? What did she do?
Who did?
Madame, you know that Madame Curie?
No, I don't know.
Let me try and research it. Madame Curie, what did she do? Probably people listening to us have gotten to it before
This is when we need our assistant.
That's true. Polish-French physicist. Oh, she did research. She did pioneering research on radioactivity.
Okay.
Anyway, she died of, like, radiation. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I have actually heard of her.
Yeah, the first woman, isn't it? Something to do
with Did you know that Roman Catholics in Bavaria founded a secret society in 1740 called the Order of the Pug? New members had to wear dog collars and scratch at the door to get in. The pre-Masonic Society was reportedly active until 1902.
How long did that go for?
A while. So 1740, so 60 years, 262 years.
Oh my gosh. Of all the organizations, you could have chosen, what, the Freemasons or anything you wanted.
Yeah.
The Order of the Pug is the way to go.
Yeah. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln, who you talked about on our episode, was also a licensed bartender? And in 1833, the 16th president opened a bar called Berry and Lincoln with his friend William F. Berry in New Salem, Illinois. The shop was eventually closed when Barry, a raging alcoholic, consumed most of the shop's supply.
Oh, there we go. I saw he was a bartender. I had no idea all of that happened. It's probably like, oh, think of a career change now.
Yeah.
Just stumbled across presidency.
Did you know that for over 30 years, Canada and Denmark have been playfully fighting for control over a tiny island near Greenland called Hans Island? Once in a while, when officials from each country visit, they leave a bottle of their country's favorite liquor as a power move.
Did you know Bloody Mary wasn't actually called Bloody Mary?
No.
So apparently, the popular brunch beverage and hangover cure didn't actually start off as being called Bloody Mary. Nope, it was actually called a bucket of blood. Appetizing, isn't it? And after bucket of blood, it transitioned to the red snapper and finally Bloody Mary.
Oh my god. Did you know that in the 18th century, in England, pineapples were a status symbol. So those rich enough to own a pineapple would carry them around to signify their personal wealth and high class status. In that day and age, everything from clothing to houseware was decorated with the tropical fruit.
Of all the things.
So you'd be like, oh, I've got a pineapple. Look how rich and wealthy I am.
And I'd be like, look at my watermelon. Look how big it is. And you'd be like, look at my pumpkin.
I also found this one pretty interesting. Did you know that in ancient Rome, like in the Roman Empire, that ferrets, dogs, and monkeys were the most popular pets instead of cats? Ancient Romans used ferrets to hunt mice and rats, and they used dogs as guard dogs and monkeys as entertainment.
Oh my god. You just never know throughout time.
Yeah.
The social norm is so different, isn't it?
Yeah. And then in ancient Greece, they believed redheads to be vampires after they died.
Whoa.
Because they were so pale and sensitive to sunlight, unlike the Greek Mediterraneans who had olive skin and dark features.
That's crazy. They probably put, like, on the coffins, they probably, like, covered it in chains to make sure that they didn't burst out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh, James, we just hit 30 minutes. Can you believe it? That flew by.
Yeah.
Really damn fast.
Do you want to hear one last one?
Do it.
The most famous female serial killer was a Hungarian countess, Elizabeth Bárati de Esud, and she was accused of torturing and killing over 650 young women. Most of them were between the ages of 10 and 14.
What was the year?
It doesn't actually say, but very interesting. And of course, I think she was blamed by someone else.
Oh my god. Imagine if that was the case.
Because you know how they always blame someone? Yeah, she was a noblewoman and a serial killer from 1560 to 1614.
I thought so. If it's those disastrous numbers, I think if that was to happen now, you would be caught. So real fast.
So 80 have been confirmed, but up to 650 also alleged.
Okay. It's the alleged part. Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, but historians say it's very hard because they don't know whether it's just a story or whatnot.
It's kind of like Jack the Ripper, isn't it? They say now that it was probably created by the journal. What the companies actually developed this in order to sell newspapers. That Jack the Ripper never actually existed.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I guess we'll never know. But it's been a cracker of an episode, James. We can literally talk about this all night because it's just interesting.
Yeah, we could. There's so many interesting random facts.
You just think you know and then you don't know and then you're like, what?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
No, thank you, James. Called you Jess.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.